Okay, it's 7 on the 12th of March, 2018. This is the Jamaica Town office, the Jamaica Town Select Board agenda. Tonight, we have two major pieces. Remember, the first piece, we're going to introduce the board members. We're going to choose to select, we have some select board officers we have to choose, and then we're going to make the town appointments. After which, we'll have the regular select board meeting. So, before we get started, I'd like to do some quick appointments. Introductions. Tom, introduce yourself, please.
Okay, Tom Tolbert, been in Jamaica for 17 years and recently moved into the village. And so I'm happy to be here.
We're glad to have you. And Mr. Greg.
Greg Melmans, the new select board member, lived in Jamaica on and off for most of 25 years, or 30 years almost. Been in my current residency for 18 and was prior to this on the planning commission, so happy to be part of this group.
Awesome. Very much welcome, both of you guys. And the new scribe, the new town clerk. The very first order of bit, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Sarah Wiswall. Hello. I don't live in Jamaica,
I'm Sarah.
That's okay.
We forgive you.
but I've lived in the West River Valley my whole life.
One of the things that we should do right off the bat, just because she's going to be our official scribe for us, is she needs to be appointed. There's a form that we have to fill out, which we all have to sign. So, all in favor of signing, appointing.
Do we need to make a motion or not really?
You know what? It's one of those fuzzy things. We're not really in the select board meeting yet, but I think she needs to be sworn in, and that'll be tomorrow because it has to be in front of the justice of the peace.
Oh.
But what I'd like to do is I'd like to get us all, if we were in concurrence, we need to also sign this to appoint her. Any objections to that?
No.
Sounds good. So we'll circulate this tonight when we're doing the other signatures and get her to sign it, and then tomorrow she'll sign it. So you're official now, but you can't say anything because you're not sworn in yet. No, of course you can. But just to make it official. And we promise the next time you come here, you won't have to wear your parka.
I'll wear my snowsuit next.
Good. All right. There's a sequence of things that I've got lined up here. Hang on a second. There's a number of appointments that for doing the business of the town. And those appointments range from fence viewer to village beautification. And so I have not heard from any of these people that they're not interested in continuing. So we're expecting continuing unless otherwise heard. So what we need to do is go through these things and make sure that we, as a select board, are comfortable with that appointment. So the current appointments that we have are from the list I have is from the minutes from March of 2017. There's been some changes, but most of them are about the same. So we should go through those. The first one, oddly enough, is the fence viewer, which is Steve Clark. Does that sound like a reason we in agreement with appointing Steve Clark?
Yeah.
Okay. Animal control officer is Rob Willis.
Yes.
You agree with that, Rob Willis? He's also, of course, the constable. Okay.
He was elected at town meeting.
To be the constable.
To be the consul.
Okay.
So we're appointing him to be the animal control officer. in
Oh, I
addition.
thought that just came on there.
So did I. And then
Okay,
it's out.
no.
Yeah. We have surveyors, excuse me, of wood, lumber, and weighers of coal. This is vacant. No one's knocking at my door wanting to be the weigher of coal.
50 years it's been vacant.
It's been a while. Moving on. We all agree on that? Or anybody want to volunteer for that? By the way, for those of you in the audience, if there's anything that you would like to be volunteering for, feel free to contact me and we'll make it happen.
Some of these positions
Or just
are pretty
archaic.
obsolete and
Yeah, that
probably
was
don't
actually,
need
you
to
heard
be.
something on the radio about that. They came about in like 1930 or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just sort of been on the books ever since in all the towns.
There was an article last year, the year before last, I remember somebody talking, we gotta get rid of those things, and there was resistance to getting rid of them.
Yeah.
Part of the town meeting.
Traditional.
Tradition. Tree warden is Ben Williams. He's done a pretty good job. We've had a couple of opportunities when we were working with Irene, where we had some tree things that had to do, and so he did that. Okay? We agree to Ben Williams.
Yes.
The health officer is Mr. Coyne. And the question there, sir, is you willing to continue to serve as you have done such a remarkably,
I have,
really good
I
job?
have to, it's a 3-year term.
I think you don't run out.
Only 1 or 2 years anyway.
I didn't want to say that until after you said sure. But your term doesn't run out until September of 19, I believe, is that correct? Yeah. But anyway, you still like the job. You do.
I'll finish it out.
That's, okay. Deputy Health Officer, we have Joel Beckwith. Have you heard anything from him to the contrary?
No, I think that last year that came up and he said he'd do it again.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure.
That's the last thing I heard from him as well. Cemetery section, East Jamaica, Jamaica Village, and South Wyndham, we have Bruce Chapman. We've heard nothing to suggest that he's not continuing interest in that. For West Jamaica, South Hill, and Pikes Falls, we have Karen Amidon, who has told me herself that she's interested in continuing. Rossendale is Nelson Coleman. Signed the other night, and I don't remember it coming up, but I haven't heard anything that suggests that he's no longer interested in that position. The Emergency Management Coordinator is me. Okay, there's nobody frothing at the mouth to take that job, so I'll continue. The Rescue Inc. Representative Stuart Barker, he said he was interested in continuing. The Energy Coordinator is Chris Clark. The last I heard, he was interested in continuing. I'll give you this sheet, so you don't have to write all this stuff down. Sorry about that. Halfway
I
through.
was trying.
Sorry. I'll give you this, so you have it all. Flood Zone Administrator is Lou Brusso. He's interested in continuing. The Wyndham Regional Commissioners is vacant. The Planning Commission and Zoning Board of Adjustment. We have,
I'm the Wyndham Regional Commissioner.
no, you're not. You're on the Transportation Committee. That's not a commissioner position.
Yeah, it was.
It's not. It's not. Moving on. On the Zoning Board of Adjustment, we covered, let's see, Veda Bassett, the Planning Commission Zoning Board of Adjustment. Veda Bassett, who is leaving us, is that correct? As of now or as of the end of?
No, as of now,
now.
last
I
meeting.
think she already left.
Town meetings just said that.
Yeah, we had Greg Mullins, but you're obviously divided loyalty coming to us now.
Yes.
Unless you want to give up
I don't
everybody for
think
the
I
rest of your
would
life.
want to do both. I don't even know if I probably could.
We checked on it and you could if you wanted to.
No,
But
I will resign. from
we'll
that
keep you busy.
position. Okay.
Okay, good.
And work closely with them. anyway.
Christopher Robbins, who's on the board, and then we also, gentlemen, I'm blocking on this.
Brian Zero.
Zero, yeah, Brian is on as well. So right now we have 3.
And Rebecca.
And Rebecca, who's on.
And all 3 of those have expressed
Yes,
interest.
I have had 2 other people approach me about being interested.
Excellent.
So if
I
I,
believe they're gonna go to the meeting
Yeah.
Monday.
Oh, good, good, good.
maybe the same people.
Okay,
Could be.
maybe,
Yeah.
that would be good, and then you can get the thing to us. We're theoretically the one who appointed, but it would be so much better for the planning people to select. And you guys pick somebody who works for you, or works with you, and then we can certainly take your recommendation and appoint. Excellent. I did get a letter from Rebecca. She's interested in continuing, which is excellent. Okay? And where were we? Recreation Committee, this you told me.
I'm dropping off the record.
You're gonna drop off there. So we have,
After my 6 years on there.
so you've recreated out.
I've
right?
recreated out.
Okay. We got Rob Harris.
Rob's not on it anymore.
He's not anymore. I've got Bob Johnson, Julie Olson, Carolyn Person.
Yeah, that's pretty much in me, yeah.
So that was, and there was a Matt Winkler at one time?
Matt Winkler was on there as well. He's still, he's the coach still of the baseball team, the basketball team. So but I believe he'll probably be dropping on his sons in 6th grade, so he'll probably be dropping
Move
on.
up, okay.
Yeah, when his son moves up.
So we certainly would take anybody who's interested, again, in these committees, to get in touch with us and we can flesh them out a little bit.
We have posters up at DNKs about that, because we need
Excellent.
people
Yeah.
to, with younger children who are gonna be in the system for a little bit longer than
Good,
some of the
good,
people. If you
yeah.
have a 5th or 6th grader, then, they'll probably be going up to the high school and then middle school, so it's better to get someone who's a 1st grader and then they can kind of
Yeah,
be, help out for a number of years rather than have someone just come in and come out. But we would accept anybody.
yes. Good, excellent. Village Beautifications, Karen Amidon and Joe Dumas. Karen is still interested. I don't know about Joe. I have not heard anything to the contrary. Anybody? No. Fire Warden is Stuart Barker. I believe he's considering continuing. Assistant Fire Warden is Joel Beckwith, who also, I believe, is continuing. Erica Bowman is the 911 coordinator. And the last time I talked to her, she was interested in continuing. Have we heard anything to the contrary? No. Okay. We do have a question here on senior solutions.
Yes, I have that answer.
And the answer is?
Jay Stone is interested in doing that job.
J?
So
J or Jane?
Janine
Oh,
Stone.
Janine.
Yeah.
J-E-A-N-I.
The lady that spoke up at the meeting?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
that's who.
Yep, so Janine Stone will be,
Senior Solutions.
is interested, do we all concur that that's a good appointment?
I do.
Yep, I think she really spoke with some, when I talked to her afterwards, and
Yeah.
she's interested in that, so she will be, that will be a change, so she will be the senior solutions. Excellent. And if you see her before I do, thank
I'll
her.
tell her.
Window Solid Waste Management District, Judy Flower, are you still interested in continuing with
Yeah.
that? We haven't burned you out yet? Soon.
It's getting
Soon.
to there.
The Wyndham Regional Commission Transportation Committee, I have Joel Blooming. You told me you were still interested in doing that. Excellent. Okay, so that's the appointments that we have on a regular basis. Now we have officers for us, for the select board itself. We have chairman, vice chairman, road commissioner, and sheriff's department rep, transfer station supervisor, the newspaper of record, and define when the meetings are and who the minute taker will be. And those are the things that we need to decide right now. So the first order of business, I suppose, is to select a chairman.
I move that we continue with Paul Frazier as our chair.
Second.
Any discussion, anybody else
Any
interested?
discussion? Further discussion?
Anybody else interested? I would be interested in the future, but
Sure.
somewhat get, I think
How
there
about
should
tomorrow?
be change I would be told tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
but 6 months in, I don't know if that's possible to change. I mean, I think there should be a rolling just,
Well, it's a year's
Is it-
term
is it a
generally.
year's-
Yeah,
okay.
it should be. I concur with the rotation. You know, that way the scars can heal.
yeah, and everybody brings different perspectives.
Exactly, absolutely. All right, so if we will, I certainly will accept. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, will let me stay for another year. Vice Chairman, we have Andy Coyne, who has been my vice now for a while. I would nominate him again.
Second that.
Do you accept?
Sure.
Sure. Let's see, where would I leave off? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Nope?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll stick with Andy. The road commissioner is also Andy Coyne. And you've been doing a pretty good job. How do you feel about that?
Well, there's something else I'd like to do,
Well, I've got that next.
but I continue to be road commissioner
Okay.
as I'm starting to develop not a relationship, looking for a different word, but
Yeah.
Report.
Rapport with
with
the
Keith and the group, especially
Yeah.
with this Clean Water Act coming up.
Yeah.
And I'll have, if I continue to be road commissioner, I'll have Keith come in and speak to that and some of the other stuff that they're
Yeah.
doing pretty soon.
For those,
As the snow settles down.
for those, yes, this Clean Water Act is something we're gonna have to.
Keith is up on it.
Yeah, and Keith is on top of it, but it's something that's gonna drive us for a while. So all in favor of Andy continuing as road commissioner, aye?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Abstentions? Thank you, sir. Now, what we also lost this with Lex's retirement was the sheriff's department representative. And that's someone who's basically the liaison between the department and the sheriff's department. So somebody's got some kind of a communication already established, or however. You had said you were interested in that?
Yeah,
I'd be interested in that too.
I am very interested. I would like to have done that before I retire from the board.
Okay.
But if someone else is interested,
Did I hear from?
I'm interested.
Do you have some kind of connection?
I
with the
don't,
department?
not particularly, but, you know, if we're done.
Good dad get some quick speed tickets, so you know
Exactly.
who's out
It's
there.
not, it's not,
You know the people.
I could bust it, sure.
I have some experience with them, but I'm not on the select board. No, I know some of the deputies.
I think you've been doing a good job, so I would move that Andy continue on, or will take over that,
For sheriff?
for sheriff deputy.
I'm hearing you say that you think that may be a lot right now.
It's not really that big of a job. I call them up on Old Home Day.
Yeah.
With a liaison for negotiating the contract, make sure that they're fulfilling their end of the contract, make sure we get monthly reports of what they're given for, what they're doing for business,
Right.
for tickets, warnings, other investigations they're doing. I'd like to do it, but
Are you still interested, Tom? I mean, I would.
I'm
vote-
interested if you want
we
to
can
do
vote
it,
on
it
it.
doesn't
But I'd
sound like
also
that.
maybe say spread the wealth, so to speak, and
Yeah.
get a few of the other people
Yeah.
involved and some stuff.
there's another thing that's not on there, is the assistant transfer station
Oh.
supervisor.
And you're doing that job as well.
Well, I'd like to get rid of one, something.
Something.
That'd be one of them.
That'd be one of them. Okay, yeah,
But if someone
that's
else-
a good point.
Wants to do the sheriff liaison, that's fine.
Well, if you wanted to do that, and certainly he knows, we can.
Okay, make some reductions, yeah.
It can't be that hard.
We'll work together. Yeah, it's got a lot to do often with what you're doing anyway, with the arts and all the other
Yeah.
traffic we have, so
Right.
that might be well coordinated. Okay, so, all in favor of Tom taking over the sheriff's, coordinator, representative?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Hearing so, Tom. All right. Now, I have the transfer station supervisor that you've been involved with, because you're also the rep to WSC.
Right.
And also the transfer station supervisor. Can I assume that you want to continue with that?
Yeah,
And you've been doing her backup. Is that something you like to share with somebody else?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have anyone
Well,
else?
I'll do it if no one wants to.
I will jump in for the sake of learning something different and sharing the wealth, so to speak.
That can be much needed.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm stepping in.
No, you don't. One of the things, just to be fair about this, is, it doesn't sound like much until you get into the weeds.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff, especially in the transition of the last couple of years of moving from what we used to do to what we're doing now.
There's that, and when there's no one available to run the place.
right, personnel,
That's a big-
actually,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of time.
So,
And also-
it's the right time to get you guys.
Judy could probably speak to it better, but you're also, I was always invited to the meetings.
Yeah.
They like both
Wyndham Solid Waste.
the supervisor and alternate down there.
Yeah.
Because they
And
always
that's
do
possible,
those-
and as long as.
I'm just saying,
schedule
they'd love to have you down there, and those are some interesting meetings, the few that
Yeah.
I've been to.
Actually, there's one next Thursday, Thursday. It was canceled,
Right, Storm.
yeah. because of
Oh,
the storm.
speaking of storms. But anyway, the important piece of it is it's a significant issue that, as you can tell you, it's been changing
It's a
so
big
much.
committee.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Excellent. All in favor of Greg assisting Judy in the transfer station?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Wow, fine.
There we go. Thank you, sir. Good. Excellent. We need to name a newspaper of record. We've had a couple of comments brought to my attention. We've been using Brattleboro Reformer for as long as I've been here. There's been some discussion of changing that to the Commons, thinking that there are more people who read the Commons in Jamaica than read Brattleboro Reformer. Also, Brattleboro Reformer is a pretty expensive place to post things. So that was the discussion. Right now, I've had people, Brattleboro Reformer's been the tradition. The Commons seems to be upcoming. It's like
It's
once a week
upcoming,
now.
it's free too.
Yeah, the price is right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One once a week though, right?
But that's the other.
Only once a week, yeah,
Yeah.
Wednesdays.
Wasn't part of the discussion we had that sometimes we need to get something in the paper?
Right,
There have been,
Yeah.
there have been times.
What are those, can you recall what one of those things might be?
Yeah, one of the times we had to get something posted really quickly for either it was an employment thing or
Yeah.
something
Well,
to do
that-
with one of our
I know.
contracts or something that we had to get in the
Because I-
paper really
Exactly.
quickly.
Like when there's properties, tax sales, we got some warning on those. I don't know if the Commons would accommodate things like that.
No.
We'd have to find that out, I think.
I don't know, yeah, I'm trying to think if they do announcements, they do obituaries, but I don't know if they do announcements per se. There is a classified section with jobs and things I was
Right.
looking at today.
Like tax
But
sales.
I don't know, I don't recall if it was like announcements from towns.
Is there a copy in here?
Commons?
I think we do have one on the table,
Maybe
yes.
Maybe we can look.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the concern is like you said, there have been times, especially in relation to the last couple of years, where we needed to post something quickly.
Right.
And I know we had to get it out on Thursday to get it in on Saturday, pretty quickly. Whereas this is only weekly, so that would be an issue.
It's the towns. I know they put, things that are going on in town, put some select board, something's going in, or topics in select board meetings.
They do cover the area, news-wise.
Yeah, the newcomer, it's pretty, it's a decent paper.
Yeah, it's gotten, you said it's gotten its legs in the last year.
I don't see anything in that one. This is, Ed.
Is there, the one, I thought I saw one in the bottom of it,
Well, yeah, but I'm not seeing like announcements.
I don't believe they go.
No.
Well, in the interest of.
I get that online.
Yeah.
Do you?
I never remember reading that.
Oh, so here's obituaries. Yeah, and then some ads, but there's not really any announcements or, doesn't look there's any formal postings.
No, there are.
So maybe we better stick to Brattleboro simply because they have that, or we know that they have that. And we could do some more exploring, and who knows, maybe by next year the Commons will catch up. But it's expensive to post in Brattleboro, but they do
Yeah,
respond within a couple
it
of
is.
days. So all in favor of continuing with the Brattleboro Reformer, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll leave the Brattleboro Reformer as the newspaper of record. We also have to formally announce that, make decisions that our meetings are the second and fourth Mondays at 7 PM. Is that agree with everybody? Second,
Yes.
fourth, okay. And the minute taker is now, writing our little fingers to the bone. Sarah,
Hello.
guess what? Do we have any other interested minute takers? Nobody's lined up? All in favor of accepting Sarah as the official minute taker? Say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, so, all right, so that's the organizational portion of the select board. The next step, excuse me, is to go, by the way, I'm not contagious, I saw the doctor today. I am not contagious.
All right.
Coughing in your arm, but you're not contagious. You're dying, but you're not contagious. All right. So, let's go into the regular select board meeting. We've appointed Sarah, we've done the introductions. We want to call for any late additions to the agenda.
I know, I can
One.
make an addition.
You have one, right?
Yes.
Yes. And that's regarding the transfer station?
Transportation.
You met today, right? Transfer,
Yes.
yeah, transfer committee. Okay. What we generally do for you guys is, the first order of business of calling for any late additions. Generally, if you can get anything you want to me by noon on Thursday, I'll publish it by 2 or 3 on Thursday. Once in a while, like when I was out of town, I did the Wednesday deadline myself, but, the Thursday deadline. But anything that comes up from that time frame, like on Friday or Saturday, Sunday, we can add it under the late additions to the agenda. Any other late additions? Hearing none, moving on. Approve the minutes of the February 26th Select Board meeting. I believe all of you guys got them electronically in your book. So is there anyone who's not had a chance to look over the minutes of the February 26th Select Board meeting?
Were the new members sent the minutes?
I was at the meeting too, so.
Okay.
Greg, did you get them?
I had not until now, but I will abstain from voting as not having been to
Oh,
the meeting.
well, come over quick. Speed read? No.
I wasn't at the meeting.
That's true.
I
I
can't
got
really
you.
comment
I'll
if
make
they're
a
accurate or not.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Do I have a second?
Second?
I have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are accepted for the February 26th as presented. The next order of business is approve the timesheets for town office, listers, highway, and transfer station. And number 4, sign the select board orders. We, as you guys know, generally put that off to the end of the session so that we don't tie up any guests or something like that. We just do that at the end.
Should we just start putting those at the end of the agenda?
You know, I've been doing this for so long, I keep thinking I should do that. But what happens is, this is a nice block of stuff I can paste, copy and paste. all the end of the stuff I'm adding every week, so it's just laziness on my part.
And can I just add that some of these are, you can look at these early on.
Oh, yeah, they're all available in this thing.
If you really
What
want
are
to
those?
see the pay orders.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they all come in this little blue thing right here.
Where's the red?
This is kept on the bookshelf, I mean, the
Filing cabinet?
the filing cabinet behind where Alexa sits to do bookkeeping.
Yeah.
And they're all in blue, she keeps it in a blue thing. All right, next order of business, we've got a couple of things that we have to do with that. We have a liquor license renewal request, and that is for, there they are, North Country General. There are 3 different requests, because there's 3 different licenses. One is to do with outside, one's malt and Dennis, the inside, and I think
Package.
perhaps the second class license sell malt and Venus. And this one is outside consumption, and this one is first class restaurant bar license. So, they're the same basic idea. What we need to do with these things is we all, as a select board member, need to sign these today. So, excuse me, the question is, does anyone have any
What are
information?
the names of the places?
This is the North Country General,
Okay.
the Fraser's place right across
Oh,
the street.
yeah, okay.
So the 3 licenses.
And the other 2?
No, they're all 3 the same. They're
Oh,
different licenses.
Yeah, there's 3 licenses, one of the
I
licenses
understand.
is for packaged liquor.
Yeah, I
A
understand.
packaged wine and beer, one's for a restaurant, one's for pubs.
Outside.
Yeah, got it.
Yep. So are there any other questions? All in favor of accepting these?
I got-
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry.
Where are they drinking outside, on the porch or?
I think so.
Sitting on
They
the
have a
front
porch,
lawn?
there's an outside porch, and then when they have concerts, there's a little strip of land down below that porch where they.
And they've also got some table, some.
They do put some tables
Tables
up
out on
front
grass.
too, sometimes, yeah. Up front, there's some picnic tables up front and some.
Yep.
They don't sell hard liquor in there?
They do not sell it.
No, that's all I want to know.
Okay. So all in favor of,
Make a motion.
I'm sorry,
I'll make a motion to approve the
you
liquor
better,
licenses for North Country General.
you're gonna be appointed the guy keeping track of me.
I'll second.
Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we will get these signed as we pass the other ones around tonight. We got a lot of signing to do. Okay. The next order of business is we have some excess weight permits that have come in. There's a couple of concerns I have, actually. We have one, these are gonna go to the road commission. We have one from Colton Enterprises. And they're specifically asking to go across the Green Iron Bridge at Depot Street to the Jamaica State Park. And they're asking to do that with 9.5 ton vehicle, and max weight is 4 tons.
And tell them no.
Yeah,
That's what I'm putting on the table.
yeah.
I think that,
What do they want to do now?
I don't know what they do. Are they wood? They do wood?
They do.
Firewood.
Way
Firewood.
over though. I mean, that's quite over the.
Yeah, they got a 4 or 550. Yeah, firewood right there.
If they knock the bridge down, they get it rebuilt that much quicker.
That put it,
That's one way to
they
do it.
said that that would be the quickest way that it would get rebuilt.
Have somebody go
Have
through
it
it.
fall in the river.
That's
It
probably
would become a priority and would be repaired.
not our first
Wasn't
choice.
last either.
Yeah, it's not our
Oh, I
first
can
choice.
see it in court for
Yes.
years.
No, we're certainly not supporting that position on camera.
What does the board, what should the commissioner to do? Should I call them and explain the weight limit?
They may not even be aware that the limit's gone down.
Yeah,
Well, it's
that's-
been down now for what, 3 years?
Maybe they just, I mean, they may not. I
They
don't
may.
know,
Well,
but-
that's
but
good.
That's significantly different. I mean, if it was just,
Yeah.
say, go fast and it was only a ton of
Oh.
The
difference.
max weight, if they split their weight up,
Yeah, that's what I was
Okay.
thinking, because we've asked other people to, make their loads smaller.
Right.
And just go over several times.
I think this one I should call and
And find
tell
out,
Just
them that
explain.
see if that's comfortable for them.
before we give them the permit. I'll call them tomorrow.
Yeah, and find out. Also, this one doesn't have the usual conditions written on it. There's a little pasted usual conditions.
I'll do that when I call them.
Which really brings me to my second one, which is somebody, who's Gurney Brothers, who we've been using for years and years. The restrictions list says no use of town roads March 15th to April 30th, unless granted special permission by the select board. No use of wood plank bridges, no use during extreme wet conditions, no loads to exceed legal Vermont registration weight. No use under wood plank bridges is that bridge on Depot Street. We didn't put in the max weight on it, but I think the wood plank pretty much covers it, don't you? On that. We're talking now, understand we've got two Depot Street bridges. One is the Depot Street Bridge, and the other one is the bridge to the Green Bridge. To the Green Park.
Yeah,
That's the one that's the most, oddly enough, the one that's most in jeopardy.
the one to the park.
Yeah, yeah. And we've got boards down, it's got a wood deck, so this does cover that. But we're not mentioning in here that there's a weight issue.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a problem. Most of the other wood deck bridges that I can think of are up on West Jamaica Road. We have two there, I believe. And that, they're posted. Not the bridges themselves, but the road is posted where Pikes Falls spins off and West Jamaica goes forward. There's a posting right there about the weight of those bridges.
So I can sign this one.
I believe so. Do we all agree we can go ahead and ask, instruct the road commissioner? There's their insurance
certificate.
and their fee.
And that's for a year-long permit to run the, or is that just a special use like that?
No, I think they apply every year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too.
I thought this was the same application for the year, but they're asking some specific questions. That's a different
I'll call
form.
it that.
It's a slightly different form, so we should check on that one. It's easy to forget how.
You need a motion.
Does that hurt to call them too and just make sure they realize that that bridge is, the posting's changed?
These guys,
To add that to the exclusions?
Well,
they should know.
because
I mean, I can call
I
them.
mean, if they should know, then.
yeah, we could add that to the exclusion list, the fact that it's got the limited weight. The fact that it's got the wooden deck bridge
Yeah.
puts it in there. So it'd be redundant, but it might be worthwhile. These guys are doing firewood, and truthfully, what they did, I believe it's the same company in the past, they've gone over with like half a load.
I've seen
Right.
people going by, it's the same ones. Their truck isn't marked, but I see them going over with like 2 and 3 pine logs
Yeah,
when they could have a lot more on.
I think they've
So
been
it's
trying.
the same outfit then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's, if they're willing to do that.
How
if that
about
makes
this
sense.
then, if that's what them, and that's what they're doing, can I sign this tomorrow after I talk to them?
Board?
that sounds
I think that's
reasonable.
Both of them, we'll sign this one now.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's fair. We just want to make sure,
Right.
because it's so easy to forget that. And I know the loggers in the past have made split loads. It's really hard to split like a load of propane, but those guys generally go over at the end of the day when their loads are down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ready? Vote on this. Let's entertain a motion to instruct the road commissioner to sign the weight limit for the Gurney Brothers and to contact Colton Equipment, and explain the restrictions, and if amenable, he may sign that one as well. All in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a further discussion? I forgot that part.
Yeah, right.
Good job. Keep track of it. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? No? Thank you. You'll do that. Yes? Good.
Who first that?
See, what I'm looking over this, I'm watching her white knuckles.
Did anybody
She's
make the
like,
motion?
how am I gonna make sense of this tomorrow? This is insane.
I know, my
Yeah, that's okay. And here's your real tough part. I'm the one who's gonna be in the office tomorrow.
Oh, good, so you can
Yeah,
help
so
me with it.
this is the memory upon which you're going to rely. All right, moving right along. Before you guys came aboard, we had a continuing discussion regarding a possible letter to the legislature regarding our concerns about possible changes in the open meeting law. Several months ago, there was some discussions that Joel brought up about some changes in committee on the open meeting law. And it was not clear. We all put together, he wrote a letter, and we were discussing it, and then changed in the committee. And then I haven't heard any more about it, and the context that I've been seeing haven't talked about it. So the question is, and I think you asked the question last time, whether we should go ahead and write something in
It's all
anticipation.
still in the newsletter.
It's the same.
Every week.
It's still in there? I missed it, the one I got
Yeah.
this one.
And what they're saying is that they were talking about having an ombudsman, but they did away with that.
You told me, I said about that.
But they're still going along with serial quorum, which means two people talking about a subject, the third person comes in, the first person goes out. If you talk about the same actionable subject, it's a violation. It will become, if this is passed, it would become a violation. So all you're writing a letter saying that either you will agree with it, or, and I think at this point VLCT does agree with it.
That's a surprise. I'm dying to hear it.
Well, they were against the port where even two people couldn't talk about a subject. They were against that, but that was done away with.
Okay, that was a really serious.
Right.
But now we're talking about the serial connection?
Serial quorum.
Even if I called you and said, this is what I think we ought to do about this, and then called Tom and said the same thing, and the same thing to Judy, that's what they're talking about.
Right.
I thought it was one to two, three, four,
But in that case,
Well,
that
you
makes
know
sense,
what?
that means.
trying to do business
It's a lot
one
of,
at a time.
it's based a lot on the honor system.
Right, and if we wrote,
Technically, if you call with the intention of influencing a vote, that's what they're trying to prevent a group of people from.
the whole group, after
A
two.
small group. Yeah, you're right, a small group, in this case, 3 out of 5. If the 3 out of 5 get together to try to force this position as a unit, that's what they're trying to prevent.
that's-
They want transparency.
That's illegal anyway. 3.
Well, it's illegal if you do it all together. They want it to be illegal even if you do it successively.
If we were to write a letter, we probably obviously can't send the one that we, after the first draft. Was that letter addressed? I think the letter should be sent or opposed to any change to the open meeting law. That's what I think.
Well, yeah,
You know, what I can do
what
is.
you send is what you, yeah.
Yeah,
But to some extent, what you're saying, if you just called up and we had a discussion, and then you turned around and called Paul
But I wouldn't-
and had the same discussion, and we then came into a meeting and the three of us in theory had met, I mean, that makes sense, the honesty, that shouldn't be happening.
We shouldn't be doing that anyway.
Right, well, that's what they're trying to put into words
The
now,
other
right?
thing is if you casually
I
come into
understand.
the office and talk about it with no intention of influencing, then that's not such an offense. And that's what you want to avoid them enforcing, that, in
Right.
Congress,
Right.
in legislatures through the country or the state, people talk to each other about, what do you think about it? And what do you think about is a valid question.
Right.
But I want you to vote for is a different question, and that's what they want to avoid.
My experience on the board, for as many years as I've been on here, is catching ourselves when we're together, talking about anything, sort of jokingly saying, somebody needs to get out of here. Even if we're just talking about the weather. That's been my experience when I've been with you guys.
Yeah, well, we certainly try to keep it.
So this,
Because it is perception too. If you see 3 select
that
people
too.
talking, then people say, what are they talking about?
Mhm.
But it allows for people, like if you go to a planning commission meeting,
Right.
3 of you go to a planning commission meeting, you can't be called a quorum for the select board. So you have the freedom to do that, or the freedom to go to a wedding. If you're 3 of 5, whatever, go to a wedding and just casually talk, that can't be called a quorum. And that's included in the new, that's stipulated specifically in the new.
But it does say actionable, you can't be just talking about what you're.
So really, the select board wants to appear honorable and be.
Right.
And I don't necessarily agree with everything that the VLCT tells us, just a personal opinion.
But this is
No.
something that's in Congress. It's
No, I'm just saying, as a select board member, just because they go along with something doesn't mean that
Right.
they're
That
like
it's right.
God to me or whatever.
Right.
They've helped me out with some things, but just because they're okay with this,
But they're not
doesn't mean
proposing
that
it.
I am.
They're not proposing it.
I know, but
But they may be-
they're endorsing
They're
it.
endorsing it.
And it matters, I mean, they represent cities with a lot bigger bureaucracies where there's town managers and there's actually employees, so to speak, to do the work. I mean, we are doing the work, and so we need to be discussing these things at a different level than
Right.
Burlington or Rutland does. And so VLCT represents that city also, and so they're coming forward with a.
How about if we do this? How about if I take the letter that he sent us and circulate it again, so you guys get a chance to see it? And read it in concert with the new information. And then we can talk about this, we put it off, but I think we ought to make sure what we're doing before we send anything in writing.
Right,
And
and I
then
think
next-
it should go back on the agenda for next week, and
Exactly.
we should
We'll
get
have
it
time.
done, either do it or don't do it. because
Well, I agree with that.
That'll be, the session will be over before we do anything.
Hopefully benignly.
Well, it seems that have a lot bigger fish to fry, from what I've been reading.
I would think
I
so.
don't know if they're not doing anything, but it has a bill number.
It has a bill
And it
number.
hasn't come out of committee
I'm
yet.
still in committee.
All right, so tomorrow I will send that letter, and you can all see it and kind of read it in light of what we're talking about now, and then give me whatever inputs you'd like to give.
They
Does
just
that
don't
create the
correct
problem?
themselves.
Here's the thing. It's one of these bizarre things. I can send, I mean, each one of us can send stuff out. We can't just hear a bunch of stuff in. I mean, the old electronic
Right.
controls, we can send things out. So you can send out, send in, we just
That's
can't.
information.
But the other part of it is that, in theory, it should be Sarah coordinating this too, and not you. Because you then are participating in
In
this
the
board
discussion.
discussion, you're an equal member of the board, it should all be channeled through a non.
That's a good idea. We can try that.
I
see
mean,
how that
as an
works.
administrator, that's not subject to the open meeting law, I mean, she can say, gather all of our opinions and
And sure.
funnel them that way. And
It's not a bad idea. We can do that tomorrow.
Yes.
And we'll all get, I've got a copy of the letter he wrote.
Okay.
And
Can I
then,
just ask Joel, was that letter written after you read the first draft?
Originally it was written and then it was edited, I believe.
Okay.
I edited it, I believe. I haven't seen it in such a long time.
I'll get my copies together, I'll get them to her.
But those were just
The
suggestions.
first draft.
Those were just words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Those are just words. Write what you think you should write.
No, I'm just saying that the first draft of that bill, was insane.
Yes,
When we,
it was insane.
when
And
we all-
VLCT did not support the first draft.
but his response to it was not
no,
insane.
no,
It
that's
was
what I
a
mean,
reasonable
that's
response.
what he was responding to,
Yeah.
was that nonsense.
Yeah. Okay.
I could give you the name of someone to speak to at VLCT if you want information who's dealing with this. I don't have it at my fingertips.
Can you send me an email and I'll
Sure.
work there?
I will.
So does Sarah send us that letter
Yeah,
so that
I believe
it
that's-
takes you totally out of the
Right.
picture?
Yeah, that's what I
And we
think.
each individually get it.
And what they said to me when they suggested we have letters is, I mean, I thought it belonged to the select board, but anybody can write a letter.
Right.
Individually, you can write
Well,
letters.
I had a few.
it's got a little bit more credibility, I suppose, if it came from the group.
Yeah.
A board, school board, select board. And not to go back, regress, but another example I think they used was 3 of us could be at a school board meeting together.
That would be okay.
Yeah, for this new thing. I think it's okay the way it is.
Well, if you have intent to deceive, the law is not gonna change that.
Well, I think someone had,
The whole idea is-
bigger municipalities, that bill being they got their sights on that, I would hope. Because they're making it awful hard for a smaller towns to get anything done,
Right.
for all that we have to do. Not that I'm complaining, but it sounds like it. Well, it's getting, I mean, the consequences that could happen with emails and whatnot, you know, them getting a subpoena to look at my emails that I've been talking to you, kind of makes you wonder if it's worth it sometimes. But they're gonna keep tightening the,
Screws. One of the things too, at one point, the discussion, I think after the first draft was I couldn't talk to him as the road commissioner. I said, look, we got a phone call from somebody, X, because it just got so, it made it difficult to just do the basic
Right.
job of running the town.
Right.
Under the general heading of when the elephants dance, the mice get stomped. I think we have to consider that as part of the,
ouch.
ouch. All right, so that's what we'll do. I'll get that to you tomorrow, and we'll move on that way. Good. Joel, you had a report on the transportation committee.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah, well, they talked about the road project, which very briefly I'll say that there's a culvert between here and Bonneville that has to be replaced before they can do that road paving project.
Oh, really?
So they've expedited it in a way that the culvert won't interfere with the paving. In other words, they'll make sure the culvert is done. It's a small job before the actual paving project is done.
Any idea when?
Any day.
Really?
So, and this summer possibly, but there's nothing, it's only possible. From what I've learned at my time on the transportation committee is, first of all, the transportation committee has the influence of 20% to V-Trans. And anything can change at any time. And the point of that is today was talking about prioritizing bridges. And there are 6 bridges on the candidate list. I think one of them is already on the design.
Can you, for the news, can you define the candidate list?
All right, so this is the stages. There's the pre-candidate list, the candidate list, the engineering and design list, and the front of the list, front of the book. Front of the book means that they've already got the plan, they've got the money, and they said they. The candidate list is 2 steps behind that. And so once you're on the candidate list, probably the job will be done probably within 5 years. So Jamaica, we prioritized last year for this State Park Bridge. And it came up number 2. And today it almost fell down to number 3, but it didn't. But being in the first 3, neither one will happen faster because V-Trans will make the ultimate decision. The problem that I saw there is the description they have is that meantime, there is some rust and it should have a little paint, which is preposterous. I went down there and crawled under and took some pictures there. There's no more I-beam, it's a lowercase I. One of the things that I see is that select boards and road commissioners have been sending series of letters supporting their projects. And I think that it would behoove the select board to begin that, because that moves it up in the eyes of people in V-Trans. You know, they could easily say, well, nobody's really complaining about this.
Squeaky wheel gets greased.
That's right. And I think that as a town, we should begin prioritizing it. Because if you look carefully at the bridge, and of course we said before in jest, if it falls in the river, it'll be done right away. But otherwise, it could be 3, 4, 5 years. Everybody, every town, every bridge on that project has a good reason to do it. And I made the case to them that this is a big deal even though it's not a main thoroughfare, because most of the bridges on the list are main thoroughfares. But this is only a main thoroughfare in that it's the biggest state park in the state, and it's also a big source of the economy in Jamaica. And it's also that people live there.
It isolates it, there's no other way around it.
There's no, other places have detours, and that's the first thing that they suggest is a detour. Now, somebody said today that if the Army Corps does it, because the Army Corps has to fix the toe of the dam within the next, I believe, 2 or 3 years. If the Army Corps can't go, and they're gonna bring big things across the bridge, and they've already said that it should only be 8,000 pounds. If they build a temporary bridge, that might put us off for a couple of years, but it wouldn't be a terrible solution. I mean, the best solution would, it has to be rebuilt. I mean, painting it is not gonna help. Right.
Painting rust.
So the Corps of Engineers gonna do work where though? 'Cause
The
they,
toe of the dam.
Sometime.
oh, so they'd have to get up through the state park then?
The dam is leaking.
Right.
Under the spillway.
Okay.
Right.
They've been talking about this for
Oh,
years.
for years.
Well, what I've been told is they're gonna do it within the next 2 or 3 years. And because there's no real central intelligence in any of this, if they have to build a temporary bridge, they're gonna put whatever money's into a temporary bridge and then tear it down when we build a
Right.
permanent bridge, which makes no sense. We could share, but that doesn't happen. But if they build a temporary bridge, it temporarily solves the problem, because this way we can't bring logging. I think the guy on the property across from the park wants to log his property, and he certainly can't bring one log out at a time. And the 4 houses up there that they go in with an empty oil truck, things like that. So I've been trying to keep pressure up. I brought them photographs, and we're still number 2 on the list. What will get us onto the engineering design list? I've done some other things that I'd rather not make public, but speaking to people that are higher up, hopefully, because when I look at that bridge, I'm actually afraid to go over it with anything heavy. One camper might not weigh 4 tons, but 2 might.
When I talked to the people at the campsite about that, their concept to me was that mostly air.
Right.
Which is probably true, but still there is some weight involved.
The car is almost 4,000 pounds.
And it needs to be taken care of, it does.
Yeah, and those planks came up last summer.
Yeah.
Had to nail them back down
Yeah.
because things are moving.
Are you recommending a letter to, is it District 2, or does it go above them?
Well, the letters, I don't know where the letters have been going, and I could tell you that tomorrow.
Okay, you can check with that,
I
because,
can show you the book with the letters in it.
yeah,
But certainly to WRC,
yeah.
certainly a letter to.
Well,
to
the
the
WRC
Transportation
would,
Committee.
does it go to WRC, but the concern is with the state, right, District 2?
Well, it should go to V-Trans as well.
Yeah.
Also.
Well, that's District 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I met Mr. Flynn, I don't remember his first name, who is I guess he's the chair of V-Trans.
I don't know.
He's the guy.
Yeah.
And he says his phone is always available and his email is always available, and I think anything we do at this point to nudge it along and be the squeaky wheel, as you said.
Well, maybe we should aim it at him and copy to win the regional.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, but I'll
You can get that for us together.
find that.
We can put something together and maybe have something ready to be signed next meeting. But that's it. Agree with you guys on that?
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one of those.
Maybe, because I don't want to tie up a bunch of time, and I appreciate Joel's input. But I talked to the same lady, that lady, what's her name?
Erica?
Erica, and she gave me a horror story about, or told me what may happen when they start working on the dam. I don't care to get into all that right now, but she was saying that they couldn't fix our bridge while they were using that bridge, and they may not even let us use that bridge. We'd still have to use the Green Bridge while they were doing their thing on theirs. And she also told me that she thought at your next meeting that bridge would go up to a 1. But anyway, before we go writing letters and everything, I'd like to talk to her again.
Sure.
If I'm gonna get involved in this, which
You should.
I don't, maybe I should, maybe the board should. But, I wanna know what I'm up against.
Okay.
Or what my role is as commissioner, maybe more of a select board thing.
That makes
Before I
sense.
go tying up a whole bunch of time, Joel's been down there,
Yep.
telling them how bad it is.
Yep. That makes sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can gather, if there's more information to be found, that
Sure.
would be
I think
helpful.
I'm gonna find out the same thing you just told us.
Right.
Yeah. Very
And I
good.
think that a single name has more input than a group. They can, you know, if you go ahead and do that.
Well, I could show you what the letters have been
From the other agencies?
from other agencies, and you can see that they see that. They read them because they're in the book. All those letters
That's
are in the book.
And the state park has nothing to do with V-Trans, there's another state entity, doesn't have any,
No.
doesn't give it any extra attention
Oh, really?
because it's a state, I'm asking, because it's a state
Wouldn't
park.
surprise me that it's, that
No,
Because
there's,
that's natural resources.
I think they've just stated that they
It's
have
all
trouble getting
revenue.
firewood, but I don't think they've really put
yeah,
any pressure.
right.
Huh.
And like you said, I mean, everybody's got a good story.
Everybody's got,
Yeah,
and
The
every-
state park should write a letter.
and all those stories
Yeah.
are valid.
Right.
All their stories
Yeah.
are valid. There are bridges worse than
Yeah,
ours.
well, that's, the whole country is that way. That's one of our biggest issues right now is the
And money is
infrastructure.
much tighter than it was.
All right, you, go ahead.
We can talk about formulating a letter, if you want to, if we want to look at those other letters,
See
if the board wants to look at them.
Just to get an idea what other, how they're going about it.
Yeah,
It would be a good idea, though, if
Yeah,
there's some way to get the state park to get involved with sending a letter. We don't know that they haven't, but
It is kind of crucial to them that
Yeah.
people get over there.
especially if people get back.
It was the third most popular park a few years ago, and now it's number one.
Yeah.
Number one. Okay.
All right.
All right, so, action. We're going to, you're gonna get us copies
I'll
of
have it
this,
tomorrow.
so we can take a look at those letters. We will, I'm gonna circulate that letter, that's the previous one. So Joel's gonna get us copies of the current letters.
No, she wasn't kidding when she said, when it falls in the stream.
Yeah, she wasn't kidding.
No,
She
I
was-
started laughing and
She was kidding because you can't go on public record saying,
She didn't sound like she was kidding.
but, and she knows her stuff. She really knows her stuff.
Okay. Okay, so then you're gonna bring those on and we'll get them circulated so everybody gets a chance to look at them. And then we can decide kind of formally in our minds how we wanna go about doing that, and then we'll put it on the agenda for next time to review and discuss what we learned. And since she'll be sending them out, we're not violating open meeting law, we're just getting information.
And no further action. Nothing serious is gonna happen in the next few meetings
To the bridge,
concerning that bridge.
if the helicopter lands on it, it's all over.
But they don't have any plans of moving it up too long. That's, they've addressed that.
No, they
And that's as good as it
voted to
gets.
keep it where it was.
Okay.
Any movement on the other bridge on Depot Street?
It's on the candidate
It's on the
list.
pre-candidate list, your bridge is on the
It
pre-candidate.
was
Oh, that's
7 years out
Yeah.
before the Green Bridge came up, so.
Yes. You were closer with that bridge than you are now.
Lou was after them for,
But see, the thing is, there's an alternative route.
There's a backup plan,
brand new alternative route.
yeah,
Right.
as opposed to the ladders you guys used in 11. All right, thank you very much, thank you. Okay, time for public concerns, any other public? Hearing none? The executive session, we need to go into executive session to take a report and recommendation to the Muzzy Fund Committee. Before we go, the question came up about about commissioners for the Wyndham Regional Commission. What we're going to do is we're going to advertise in the community for people who are interested in becoming Wyndham Regional Commissioners. So it's different than being on a committee. While generally commissioners are on the committee, it's a separate kind of a thing. So,
You know this for a fact?
what's that?
You know this for a fact?
As I was told.
Because the last time when I got appointed and Veda got appointed, we were both appointed as Wyndham Regional Commissioners. And we were given the choice of picking whatever committees we wanted to do.
So let's look that up, because I don't remember that, and I'll have to look into the minute meetings and find out exactly what happens.
And there's two members.
2 slots.
And I was one of them. That's how it went.
That's news to me, so we'll take a look at that and find out how that plays itself out. As it stands right now, my understanding is both seats are vacant.
No, I'm in the seat.
Well, officially vacant. All right. Any other concerns? It's a little after 8. I'd like to go to executive session. So, would anybody like to make a motion to go to executive session?
I move to go into executive session. Where is that whole thing?
You have one issue, I'll have it.
I move to find that
Pursuant to the
premature
law.
general public knowledge,
This is a,
We can get that.
we're gonna give you a copy of this. Yeah.
It's
We're
a
gonna-
standard procedure every time we go in and out of
Something we
executive
have to
session.
read before we go into executive session.
okay,
Yeah, we'll get it to you. The thing that what she's gonna put in that first top of blank is to discuss a request from the Muzzy Fund.
to discuss the Muzzy Fund would clearly place a substantial disadvantage because the select board, what's next?
Violation of privacy.
What was that?
Would clearly place the individual requesters'
Okay, would
Uh,
really,
privacy in jeopardy.
would give a difficulty of privacy to the person or whatever,
Yep.
if it is discussed in public.
Yes. I liked whatever it was you said, I'm sure.
I
And then
second.
I move that we enter into executive session.
Wait, we can't do that, so we have a
Oh,
second?
okay, that's right.
Second.
I got a second, all in favor say aye.
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 Any further discussion? Then, all in favor say aye.
I
Any opposed? No. Next motion.
I move that we enter into executive session to discuss a personnel issue,
Request from the Muzzy Fund.
request from the Muzzy Fund under the provision of Title I, Section 313A1A of the Vermont statutes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Any
I
opposed? Okay, as of 7 minutes after 8, there may in fact be a vote afterwards, regarding the chemical. Nothing personal. Reconvening the Jamaica Selectboard at 8:48. I would entertain a motion.
So I make a motion to accept the request per the recommendation of the Muzzy Committee to give the requested Jamaica resident $2,000 towards the purchase of a vehicle
Motion to accept the recommendation.
of the HJS Muzzy request,
Of the committee, the Muzzy Committee.
Muzzy Committee.
Accept the recommendation of the Muzzy Committee. Okay.
To allocate $2,000 towards the purchase of the vehicle as made by a Jamaica resident.
Motion to accept the recommendation of the Muzzy Committee to allocate $2,000 towards the purchase of a vehicle as made by a Jamaica resident. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Judy. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
I
Any opposed? 1. Motion passes 4-1. Okay? What's the matter? Second motion.
Yeah, a second.
No, your motion.
for your employees.
I'm sorry. I move that we accept as hiring as substitutes for the Jamaica Transfer Station. Let me get your names again. Dimitri, Soshin, and who's the second one?
Your official title as backup attendance?
Yeah, I've got
I'll
the
call him
papers.
that.
William
As backup attendance.
Kuczynski.
Hang on a second, let's back up. Motion to approve hiring as backup attendants,
Yeah, or substitutes.
as substitute attendants.
Yeah.
Whatever you like. Substitute transfer station attendants.
Yeah. Dimitri, D-E-M-E-T.
Wait.
Okay.
I don't write this fast when my hands aren't shaking. Transfer station attendant, Dimitri,
Yeah, Sosha,
Social.
spell
Soshin.
Soshin, I-N,
S-O-C-H-I-N.
okay.
C-H-I-N.
S-O-C-H-I-N, and
William Kuczynski, K-U-C-H-I-N-S-K-Y.
K-U-C-H-I-N-S-K-Y.
Yes.
Motion to approve hiring as substitute transfer station attendants, Dimitri Sochin and William Kuczynski. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second is Tom. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you
Okay.
for these papers.
Now, is there any other business that we need to do tonight?
Just,
Oh, one thing, real quick. I got a notice today, this is timely, so we have to put it on here, from the Spring Selectboard Institute.
Yes,
You talked to me about
I
that.
did, and I registered for it.
You did register
I
for
did,
it?
yes.
Are you aware of this?
I am aware of it and I am planning to register.
Okay, we will, of course, the way this operates is you let them know and they bill pay.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Got that stuff?
Okay.
Okay? So I just want to make sure you guys had that. I just got the mail today.
24th, right?
24th, 8:30 to 4:30 at Lake Maury Resort for Vermont.
Yep.
Excellent, good.
One other related to training, is there, I recall that there is, not for that, but another related training, I believe there's a similar type thing for new town clerks?
yeah,
Would that, I think that.
There may be a different location. or different-
Right, I mean, different,
Yeah.
similar structure,
I think
but
she
that,
owns them going.
We talked about having her go to that.
I would think
Yeah.
that'd be,
I think it's
Very
excellent,
good.
yeah. We really do want to, because it's such a.
there's so
it's-
many
There's,
things.
it's so
It
complicated.
really is.
Right, okay, good.
Could I just get a point of information with
Sure.
the appointments we did earlier? That the health officer, you don't have to be on the select board to fill that position,
Mhm.
or the deputy health officer. It just, if we don't have one, it falls on the chair. He becomes, or she becomes the health officer. So if anyone was interested in that, you don't have to be on the board to take up that.
What is the position for?
I'd take me a minute to tell you, but the,
Whatever, we can talk offline.
It's complicated.
yeah, it's another whole entity.
Yeah, there's all kinds of little pieces of work to that. All right, so, any motions that you would like to put forward?
No.
No, that's the wrong
me.
answer.
Adjourn.
Not for me, thank you.
The new guy picked up on it. So,
Motion.
I just wanted to.
Do I have a second?
Do it.
do I have a second?
Second,
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor of adjourning
yeah, practice.
at 8:55, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we are standing adjourned.
I don't want